Okay, so YouTube, CNN, and Comcast. So basically, what we're working on is, making our greater common factors and points of coordinates. Being able to work with graphs and grids. We work with that more prominently of all the time instead of just working with yeah. So we work with coordinates and grids. 97%, 87%. 84%, and we just deal with location of coordinate at the time. So it's pretty much working with three locations, three no three coordinates, 13 coordinates, 23 coordinates, and 55 coordinates, and just working with those dimensions within that 732 coordinate exchange, and being able to deal with Audi A8, Audi S8, Audi A7, Audi Q7. You're dealing with the Audi models as well. So it's pretty much what designs those technical services for the particular placement of the occupations that drive those things with Jackson Hewitt Yugo. So it's just pretty much who's able to be liable for those vehicles as you get more started with Audi in Central Texas, as you get ready to buy more expensive vehicles. And for the most part, since 2012, that every expensive Audi is more tuned for the determined the determined everyone for Audi is determined for a greater proposition of opinions of its own private invested item for itself. So it's pretty much paying for the car and being able to get it purchased and owned for at least 9 years of a row. So it's pretty much working with the whole detail of the car, and working with at least 9 cars of its purchase as well. So it's working with at least 12 cars of purchase after 2 or 3 different steps of verification and enrollment and registration at the time. So it's pretty much as you working on those 3 steps, you getting more in tune with knowing Jackson Hewitt Yugo of 12 different Audis at the time of the same different of the same of the same vehicle type. So it's pretty much, if it's Q7, then you're gonna have 12 Q7. If you add an A8, you're gonna have 12 A8s. If you had a A6, you're gonna have 12 A6. So it's just pretty much where it's following the standard form way of judgment on those characters. So it's pretty much working with ABF, and then on PFG, working with more of the coordinates on the graph and grid at the time. So that's ABF working with the coordinates and graphs, and you're working with 23 coordinates, 13 coordinates, 3 coordinates. That's pretty much ABF Transit's specialty and major at the time. So it's pretty much as they work with that, with Google Docs, with TCS, and Outreach and Outlook. You figure out more responses and replies to that seminar, and that's pretty much we added to the 97, 39, 89 different descriptions of that that model. So it's pretty much where you're looking at more of the basics of that model being produced and shipped out to the next representative at the time. So that's pretty much where you get more knowledge of what seminar it is that we're talking about, that that gives you more respect toward those types of, more respect as far as more art and more descriptions toward that type of art work, and more towards that item of use at the time. So it's pretty much working with the whole merchandise of that product. Whether it's toothpaste, catfish, central market products, wholesale. That's pretty much just working with the checks and balances area, and dealing with different sessions of that. So it's working with 9.79% full of purple, orange, and green. And it's pretty much covered with at least 97, 89, 69 different units of items at the time. So whatever it is capacitated with at least 49 orders, 89 orders, and 65 orders. Proficiency going towards restaurants, and going towards laboratories and business owners of networks at the time. So that's pretty much where you get more affiliated with eShare and Chime PMC2 squared, and being able to know that as Chime PMC2 squared's affiliation is pretty much what we want to all collaborate, and we wanted to collaborate and be able to connect with each other, and have a furious sense of being able to connect and make payments with each other, and understand more about the positive conception of the details. So you want to be able to purchase orders instead of saving orders and subtracting orders. So that's being able to turn that negative into a positive, and be able to use 98, 90, 98, 8, 90, 46%. So that's pretty much using TransUnion Reflect to do that, turn a negative into a positive. So that's pretty much where you get more with that affiliation. So with that you go into ABF. ABF knows about graph grids and coordinates. ABF knows about graph grids and coordinates inside of Google Docs. And Google Docs is the main source for, knowing what DWL's industry does and what Catfish industry does and what EcoLeaf Maker Platforms does. So, it's pretty much where you're using, those white, blue, and green checkpoints and midpoints to know more about those situations in the future of Rosewood, Zaragoza, Big Stacy, Elizabeth, Nay, and Enfield. So that's pretty much where you're using those types of locations for in the first place, as you being able to be coordinated with your own little source within these ports of Austin to Waco at the time. So whatever we're looking for is somewhere in Austin. So it's pretty much where you're looking at the same usual common ports of what you're used to, since that's pretty much where you've been for the last 80 to 20 to 14 years at the time. So it's pretty much where you're all in that common area at that time. So it's pretty much where you want to be able to use your Jackson Hewitt Yugo cents, and be able to use your purple, green, and blue qualifications, and be able to use $95 in hundreds, $25 in hundreds, $35 in hundreds, just because everybody wants everything in wholesale done, and they want it done in complete then. So it's pretty much where eShare is doing that bigger portion of coverage at, like if it was T-Mobile Stretch at the time. So it's pretty much where Chime PMC2 squared is based off of T-Mobile Stretch's internet coverage at the time. So that's pretty much where you're using those details and being able to use those concepts. Other than that, you are working with YRC, and YRC is just talking about YRC. YRC is just talking about greater common factors being multiplied and added together. That's one of the steps from YRC. Another step from YRC is standard form, is using standard form and intuitive form. That's YRC, and another YRC is yeah. So if that's not, if it is YRC, then PFG would have collaborated ratios, and it's pretty much working with sales and accounting at the time. So it's pretty much working with sales and accounting along with marketing at the same time. So that's PFG's concentrated, or working with collateral ratios at the time, 80, or working with those such. That's pretty much what PFG does with our YRC and PFG, YRC, and God dang it, what's that last one? We forgot. We keep on forgetting. And it's amazing of its sort. PFG, YRC. And, so those are the resources of what we use at the end of the day. So, that's pretty much what we're using on Google Docs to better our field support of purple, green, and white sufficiencies for EcoHerb 747, and using at least 997 members and residents for that type of detail. So, it's pretty much using yellow, green, and white residences with members at the time. So it's being able to support you in the merit group of census, and, more of your software data of your real estate at the time of MSN, Adobe, and MSN, Adobe of 7.5 version of Adobe, and Vivo at the time. So it's pretty much working with the software data of the house, and being able to build up more prominent, more propelled statistics for commercialism, communication sciences, mechanical sciences. It's working with at least 997, 67, 43 different oppositions of its past. So that's pretty much where we're being able to use more of that deposition with Google Docs, AIG Fully Loaded, and T-Mobile Stretch. And that's pretty much where we're using at least 97 accounts, 79 accounts, 59 accounts for a opening with W-2 assigned to them. So that's pretty much where we're looking at the W-2s, and that's pretty much what avails them to have more of that Jackson Hewitt Hugo status with them. So it's working with a whole nother statistic along its region. It's pretty much looking at El Paso to New Braunfels at the time. So it's pretty much working with that region between District 35 and District 10. So it's pretty much working from New Braunfels to El Paso. So that's pretty much working with those three truck districts as well, with those compliances of Yugo propelled benefits. You know, Yugo with YRC Yugo and PFG propelled benefits and um, I mean no, not YRC, but PFG, YRC, and golly, that other truck that we need is pretty much propelled benefits, while PFG is Yugo at the time. So yeah, I was using propelled benefits with collateral benefits, or not collateral benefits, but collaborated benefits. Collaborated ratios is what we were meant to say. Collaborated ratios, and being able to work with YRC with their dimension is pretty much where we're using the 97, 75, 95 hour day, as we began with those purple, orange, and green landscapes and surfaces of the landscape at the time. So I was working from Smithville to Waco to New Braunfels, and working with that Little Enfield to Big Stacy to Little Enfield to Big Stacy to Elizabeth Ney at the time. So I was working with 97 hours, 75 hours, 85 hours. And most of the time it's just coming from Wimberley to it's going from Wimberley to it's going to Wimberley to New Braunfels at the time. So it's pretty much where we're using majority of our routes of destination, going for those regions of truck drivers at the time, as they're from San Antonio and they're looking for Kyle, or they're looking for Waco, or they're looking for LaGrange or Amarillo, Lubbock, and so in that for it. So that's pretty much we're using 1997 with 2020 of yellow, green, and blue statistics. You're using more for 2.1, 20%, 80%, 900%. And you're just using your collaborated ratios from PFG to get those done. So I was working on 97 documents, 37 documents, 87 documents, and all you had to do is just stamp act them to activate them at the time. So whatever it is just a tax reference. So you just being able to stamp act them and activate them is pretty much where you're using your $78,000 reference or bill statement for the time. So whatever you want to call it, you just got to know that you got to save that document and use it as a tax reference or a bill statement or a tax deficit for the opposite opposition. So that's something that they want, that's something that they get. So it's pretty much working on their own lead of process at the time. So it's pretty much where you're using Jackson Hewitt, Yugo, AIG Fully Loaded, TCS, and outreach, and being able to use more in that indigestion of the community versus the mechanical look or the machines at the time. So that's pretty much just because everybody want to have something interesting to do. So that's pretty much where we're being able to use more insight for the plural demand of free trade and using it more for free trade and more for central markets at the time. So it's pretty much where you got some of it already completed. Some of the major parts already completed. All you have to do is just endure through the patient major of the moments. So it's pretty much where you're using 98%, 75%, 98%, 75%, 94%, 89%, 93%. You're being able to use more of your common your common greater factors at the time. So, you know, that's being able to know more about YRC. You know, being able to know more about YRC is how that happens. Other than that, you are working with the UPS company that we're talking about. You know, it's pretty much working with UPS, and it's either UPS, TNI or UPS or ABF. Yeah, ABF. That's the name of it. So TNI and UPS knows that ABF or that YRC or PFGs, and you know those are the government partners that I use in the daily hustle from Houston to Waco to Fort Worth. So you know it's pretty much working with 97 hours, 75 hours, 85 hours, from 855 months, 955 months, 988 months since it's a official contractor. You know, that's pretty much as they run it 97 months, 37 months, 88 months, down the 5 month line. You know, that's pretty much as you working with the district coordinator of Jackson Hewitt, Hugo, Google Docs, AIG, TCS, Outreach, Outlook, Google Infomark. You know, that pretty much goes down to Google Infomark's networks, and you use those intentions from T-Mobile, Stretch, AIG, Fully Loaded, and more from Frost Interscopes at the time. So you know, that's pretty much where you're using those contracted seminars to use that for, you know, eShare, EcoLeaf, Mega Platforms, PMC2 Squared, you know, being able to contribute more midpoint business for, you know, the middle of the states that, you know, deserve and earn their money, you know, politically. So, you know, it's pretty much being able to respect the personal individual that, you know, knows how to conduct that money, and you know knows how to conduct it at its own rate. So you know it's pretty much giving it more of a free trade of a leisure and liability to, you know, handle more MoneyGram, Western Union, you know, to be able to concentrate on, you know, having that money. So you know, just because you every 220s you make, you know, you being able to be dusted off by $29,995.45. So yeah, that's pretty much, you know, working with 12 20s, 2020s, 95 20s. You know, you're just pretty much using a BMW at the end of the day. So, you know, that's 997, 47%. You know, working with 2007 to 2022, and you know, it's pretty much just working from, you know, aquatics division to enterprise and understanding 997 hours. And 997, 47 hours from, you know, Rosewood Springs to Big Stacy to Little Enfield to Elizabeth Nay to Ramsey at the time. So, you know, it's pretty much working with 4994, 42 different pools of the day as you work with, you know, 92 years, 82 years, 42 years of recreation going from 997 pools. So you know you're working on a bigger state of art, you know, for every decorated district out there. So you know, instead of it being 1, not 4, not 9, but 914 different districts, you know, that's pretty much where my state of art is declarated at. So you know, that's pretty much working with district coordinator of, you know, North Zonal District, which is toward Anderson Mill and Burnett and North Lamar at the time. So you know, it's pretty much working with the Brentwood area. So you know, it's going for between Brentwood, Montopolis, and Dove Springs. You know, understanding more about their 974 42% ratio on TransUnion Reflect is pretty much where you see that AIG Fully Loaded and, you know, Jackson Hewitt you go at. So you know, it's pretty much where you're following bigger depositions between 974 42% on Jackson Hewitt you go and Internet Explorer and Google Docs at the time. So, I was working on 97442 coordinates of that dimension, from from North Wimberley to North Waco at the time. So, I was being able to share more of 2019 of 2214, and, being able to share more of, the common day of, urban days of today at the time. So, I was working with 2019 to 2042, and, understanding more about 2014 to 2:14 p.m. at the time. So, I was pretty much working with 1818 to 2294 at the time of Shell, of Southwest, um, of Liberty Mutual at the time. So, that's pretty much we're using Liberty Mutual Insurance Company to embrace you to your future, statistics and statistics at the time. So, that's pretty much we're working with 46% of, E-Verify, iTunes, and Restaurant Depot details at the time. So, it's pretty much where you're working with 46 different situations and statistics, based off, how to close down the district of 46 different districts at the time. So, it's being able to know more about becoming a district coordinator over 97, 79, 96 different months of closing down at the time. So, that's pretty much where we're using, more deposition toward that good stuff. Working with 74%. So, that's pretty much where you're working with 46% interest, and, understanding more about, having more for January 22nd to April 22nd at the time. So, whatever we do is just being able to add more into the days of months, from 2008 to 2088. And, being able to fill in from there, and, understanding more about 2018's bonus benefits at the time. So, that's pretty much working with 1897 to 1927, and filling out the calendars from then on MSN, on Workday, on WeWork, and, working with more of Phoenix, Arizona, to Oklahoma, to Kentucky, to Kansas, to Colorado, to Nebraska. Working with at least 797 ratios within that breaching on ABF is pretty much what we want to do at the time. So, that's pretty much working with the coordinate points that the tax purposes are wanting. So, that's being able to create a two-side story, and, being able to converse the mix of Yugo, of Ergo Herb 747 and Jackson Hewitt Yugo at the time. So, that's pretty much working with the urbanized function of, city metropolitans at the hour. So, that's working with 979, 46%. And, that's pretty much just working with the UPS design of, the tracking systems at the time. So, that's pretty much working with Google Docs and Google Maps of UPS. So, that's pretty much where you're using those 979, 46 interest is 997, 799, 46 times, on TransUnion Reflect, 9.1 purple, green, and white times. So, it's pretty much working with 979, 46 hundreds being used as trans tax instead of revenue tax or reference tax. So, that's pretty much how they go.